Welcome back to a new video. So this is my week of training minus Saturday and Sunday, since I get all my editing done on Saturday. Haven't got any of my grad work done, but did some work that I have to do for school. But really should have did the grad work first, so I kind of procrastinated in a productive way, which is something that is pretty common for me. I actually put laundry away too. I did all these productive things besides the grad work, which isn't really that difficult. I just kept not wanting to do it. But anywho, this was from Monday. So the goal on this day for the block snatches was just to work up on doubles, but not just to do doubles like I did last week with the big jumps, to do smaller jumps. So you see here, went from 40, 50, 60, 70, all the way up to 110, where I missed the second rep on the double, and then missed 115. So for now, at least when I do this again next week, I would like to be able to do those doubles again, and then hopefully at least double 110. Ideally be able to do a double at 115 after, but my back got really sore after this day, so it was a lot of productive work in an area that I was kind of surprised about. But I guess in a sense it makes sense, since your back is going to be doing some work there with that top end of the third pull, I suppose. But certainly got some DOMs from that, which is interesting, but I don't know, felt like it was productive, I suppose. But block snatches for me are good just for the speed under the bar and whatnot. Yeah, here's was a makey miss on that first one. I believe I made it on the second one. Just kind of just didn't finish on that first one. I'm also noticing a couple times when I was editing all these clips together that when I wear double XL shirts, they're extremely long, which is comical, which is why sometimes I'll tuck in my shirt while I train, because you can see just how long the shirts are. It's one of the annoying things with being a larger framed person. I'd say pants are definitely the number one thing that is annoying. Just getting the correct size to fit and not have them be too tight or too loose in the waist or whatever. But the second is definitely t-shirts, because I can fit into XLs, but they're kind of tight, and I don't really like tight t-shirts. And when I go to double XLs, they get exponentially longer and they fit better. Like, they're kind of baggy, which is my preference for really all clothes, but for shirts especially. But they just get super long, and I really wish that wasn't the case. But unfortunately, if I wanted stuff that fit really perfectly, I'd have to get stuff that's specialized, and just wouldn't be the case. That 115, I moved too slow. It was a little bit in front, and then my left arm just bent while I was catching it. So wasn't anything, I don't think, too terribly wrong with it. I think I was just too fatigued at that point to do that 115. But goal next week is to do those small jumps again, to keep accumulating that volume in the snatch, and then hit that 110 for a double, and maybe do that 115 for a single or a double. But we'll see. Obviously, it was pretty unlikely that I was going to get up to that 120 again for another double, because of the amount of volume and reps that I was doing prior to that. I didn't take those massive jumps. For the power clean and push presses, I believe I just got up to 100, so nothing too radical with there, but productive block work, I would say. Prior to the session, actually, on the far side, there's a spider that was between where you see that black mat and the back of it, the wood piece, that the like wood block or whatever. I gave the spider several warnings about leaving and going back to wherever it should be living, and did not listen, so I had to exterminate that poor guy, which I actually, weirdly enough, like, I don't like spiders like a lot of people. That's not the weird part, but I try not to kill them when I'm out in the shed, because they do help with bug management, and just they eat bugs, so I'm not worried about the spiders eating me or biting me or anything like that. But if they're on the platform, or like they run across the blocks or whatever it happens to be, it's a warning, and then an immediate extermination. And eventually, I think through the evolutionary pressures that I am applying to the spiders that will survive will be the ones that will leave me alone. So maybe in like 10 years, I'll have the evolutionary superior spiders that will leave me alone, but eat all the bugs that might be in the shed as well. Which, thankfully, there's not like a crazy amount of bugs and stuff that are in the shed, but maybe that's because I don't kill the spiders. So maybe it's a catch-22, that and the bug zapper thing, the combination of things to do. But after I did those push presses there with 100 or whatever I did, I believe it was 100, I went up to some doubles on the front squat. Here is 140, and then did a single at 160. I thought about doing it for a double, but the first one just felt too slow, so I kind of knew the writing was on the wall for that one. I actually did a lot of front squatting this week, or at least a lot of frequency with the front squat, which is kind of always been the approach for me to get the most out of it, or at least to get the best progress, because it's hard for me to do volume. If I approach it from a frequency standpoint, I'm usually able to accumulate some volume with it, but not to do it, sets of 5 or whatever that are just gonna, you know, bug my wrist or my front rack and stuff like that. Here are these beautiful lunges that I was not very excited about doing, but I actually got some weight on the bar, so just 40 kilos, nothing too radical yet. And I did 3 sets of 5, so 5 with each leg. I believe these are the only lunges I did this week. I don't really like. I think I'll probably try to do it twice. Like that was kind of the goal, and I just had a couple days where I just didn't feel like doing them. But once the weight becomes appreciable and the actual difficulty becomes more, I don't know. Like now it's just like a tolerance thing, I suppose. But like once they become more difficult, then maybe just once a week. But I like the idea of having done them, and I think it's one of the reasons why my squats have been feeling good, is that I'm just doing more leg volume. So I'm kind of working on different muscles that typically don't get to work in the squats or the main lifts and stuff. But goodness, are they mentally difficult to do? But yeah, I just did 3 sets of 5. Thought about doing like more, but I was just like, no, it's the first time I added weight to them besides the bar, so I decided just to keep it there. In this session, I did some power snatches up to, I believe, 105. I kind of forget there, so I guess we'll find out together. But I believe this was Tuesday. Yeah, because yesterday was the blocked one. So this was the Tuesday session, and I was definitely feeling on this day that my back was quite sore from the block snatches. I'm kind of like a DOMS way. Thankfully, I don't ever really get like really bad, back pain or anything like that. Like I don't get any like discomfort, but I will get some crazy DOMS sometimes, particularly after, well, usually not after block snatches, but more so after stuff like heavy back squats and stuff. Everything kind of is sore after a heavy back squat for me. But yeah, there's 100, and then I believe here's 105. Oh yeah, because this, I was really happy with how this one looked. I remember because I was live for this one. You see I got driven down, but I was able to catch it right above parallel and actually do like a true power snatch. So I was really happy about that. And ideally, that's a number, excuse me, that's a number I'd be able to consistently get to. Anytime I want to do power snatch, I'm able to do 105. At least that's the goal, because then, at some point be able to push above that. But in the past, like 100 was always like, if I made a good power snatch for the day, I hit 100. And now I just want that to be, that 100 number to be 105 and, eventually be 110. But you got to make 105 consistent first. And it's kind of difficult because I'll usually do power snatches on days where I don't feel as good or like wanting to do as much. So it's kind of like a tricky thing, because like on a day you're not feeling as good, you're not going to be able to train as hard or as heavy. But I still want to, have a day where even if I feel quote unquote bad or as tired or whatever, that I'm still able to get up to that number, because that will be a good indicator of just consistency in the strength. But here's a top set with a power clean with 130. Back in my mind, I think I kind of had it written out on my paper that I was gonna try 140, but once I power clean 130, I was like, it's just gonna be a full clean, and there's just no point. So I decided to do a double there just for fun, and more front squats. On this day, I worked up to 170 in the front squat, so I just did singles and took a big jump. So went from 70 to 120 to 150 to 170, which for me is, I would say, even though it's only 4 reps, it's productive in a sense because I'm able to practice that 170, and that's where things start to get difficult and where they start to feel really heavy and grindy. For me, it's kind of, I would say, like the equivalent to doing like a 210 back squat. Like I really kind of have to focus in, and like there's a chance I could miss it or whatever, but most of the time I'm able to do it, if even on a day where I don't feel too great. So it's a good way to practice. But obviously, I want to be able to clean and jerk that weight too, so there's that aspect as well. This session was Wednesday, so I started out the gym, and I actually was thinking I was gonna do no straps with snatches and just do singles up to a weight. But once I did this double here, I actually was like, I'm just going to work on doubles like I did from the blocks and see what I can do. So I was actually able to get up to 110 without missing. And it wasn't feeling particularly great, but I did have the good energy for this training session. And then did some clean and jerks up to 140 for a crazy complex. So because I was doing doubles and snatch, I decided to do complexes in the clean and jerk as well. If you consider a double and the snatch a complex, just not a single or whatever. But I went clean front squat, 2 jerks until I got to the top set with 140, and I actually did it for 3, which for a weird complex like that, it's probably a PR. Obviously I'm not going to keep track of something 1 plus 1 plus 3, but I believe my best triple in the jerk is probably 140, which I did from the blocks, and it was just the jerk. So I feel like I've done 140 for a triple before. It's one of those weights that, like, I don't really ever want to increase it because it's just so difficult to re-rack it, and it's so inconsistent to build. Like, it's a lot of it's just depending on how well you catch the re-racks, and obviously, you know, your general strength and stuff. But doubles are definitely more consistent as far as like being able to progress them. But the triple is just kind of just being goofy and having fun with the weight, I suppose, because the first two felt pretty good. But here's the 100. I feel like I didn't have any like making misses or anything. I felt like all these snatches went well. Yeah, there was a little bit of wiggle on the left shoulder and a little bit forward, but nothing that was, you know, be a miss or anything like that. I believe this set felt better. A little bit wonky on the catch there, but I think I'm just going to be a wonky kind of person until my shoulder's at 110%. But the second rep was pretty decent, even though I had to step forward a little bit. That's just kind of my MO. 110 for doubles is definitely good, especially because I took similar jumps like I did in the snatch earlier in the week. And so to do doubles again and to get to that double that I missed from the blocks is nice, especially because I usually do more weight from the blocks. I'm usually a better block lifter, but I guess I'm pretty similar right now from the floor and from the blocks, but that might rapidly change. So I believe my best double from the blocks is 125. More of a cluster than like a true double, but certainly done a lot more from the blocks than from the floor as a double. I think my best double from the floor is 120, but certainly not one that I could consistently do. For the clean jerks, like I said, did the 1 + 1 + 2, and these all honestly felt good. The jerks, I'm starting to get back. It's hard to really describe it, but I'm starting to get back the leg drive energy, and I think it's just from, you know, working with these weights more consistently, but also the push presses. And it's not like I'm trying to like pre-bounce the bar, but I'm just like pretending the bar is super powerful in my front rack. I don't really know how to exactly describe it, but when I'm kind of catching my breath, I'm just like, I guess, confidently having that front rack, and then it allows the bar to kind of oscillate a little bit extra, I suppose. You see here when I take that breath. So I'm not like, I guess in a sense, like intentionally getting to try to oscillate as much as possible, but I'm just trying to get a really aggressive breath, so then I'm a super tight for my torso, and then having a really aggressive dip and drive. Really just, that's the big thing with the jerk, just being aggressive with the whole lift. But here I was really happy with this 140. The clean felt good, the front squat felt good, and really his first jerk felt fantastic. Second one felt a little bit more difficult, but if the jerks aren't feeling fantastic, it's not like I'm going to try another one. If it feels weird and I don't feel like I can re-rack it, I just drop it, because it's just so difficult to re-rack weights, especially if it doesn't feel great. So jerks have to, for me at least, have to feel really easy for me to even be confident to re-rack it. You see there, the last one was definitely difficult. Didn't have any more in the tank, and a little bit of a press out there. Squats today were kind of interesting, so I didn't say I didn't feel fantastic for them, but I felt like I had like a good energy to do them, and I was able to take my normal jumps from the 70 to 120 to 170, then all the way up to 210. And 210 felt, I would say, pretty decent. Probably like an 8 out of 10, as far as like 10 out of 10 being like I absolutely smashed it. But definitely, I was like, all right, you know, I jumped from 170 to 210 like you expected to feel heavier. But then once I got to here, I actually failed this, and it wasn't even like a technique. You can see there, it just stopped. So, you know, it's annoying in a sense, because like you want to be able to hit any weight that you try, but it's productive, or at least I don't mind missing like that in a sense, because it wasn't like I misgrooved it or anything. I literally just ran out of strength, which, you know, obviously for me it always makes sense because I'm always lifting every day, so it makes sense if there's any particular day where I don't have the strength to do a particular lift. But I was definitely happy I tried to maintain the position, and I just kind of ran out of strength and dropped it right behind me. So definitely got sore from that lift, and really probably just that session in general. So this one was one where I tried to do a little bit lighter of stuff. And I think with that previous session, that if I would have tried like 225 or 227 like I've done a couple times, that I would have been able to do it. But I wanted to push up to that 230, because I want I guess I kind of talk about, like, I want weights to be consistent, or at least weights that I can get up to. And, you know, a heavy back squat is more so dependent on if you feel good or not. But I want that 230 to be an easier number that I can basically always do if I want to go heavy on a back squat. Similar to like the power snatch, like I always want to get up to 105, even if I feel bad. Don't necessarily want to like feel bad and be able to get up to 230 in the back squat. That would take a lot of work to make that be like a oh, I feel bad, but I'm still going to squat, 507 pounds or whatever. But I want to be able to take those jumps and go from that 70, 120, 210 to 230, which I've done. I did like a week or two ago, and I did 227 a couple times. So it's not as if like my squat is not there or like my legs aren't strong right now. But I definitely want to keep making that 230 consistent so then I can take a crack at a number that's heavier than that and potentially maybe go from like 70 to 120 to 170 to 200 to 220 to like 235 or something like that. So to play around with those jumps. But for now, I just want that 230 to be, moving and grooving, even if it's difficult, but to still be moving well. And thankfully, with even, all the back squats lately, I haven't had any that have been like a true like RP10. Like I'm really like struggling to do the weight to in the sense that like I'm just gonna have to recover so hard from it for the next couple days. Been certainly difficult, and it's not like I get in the session, it wasn't like I felt great, but there hasn't been like that 305 deadlift I did, like something like that crazy of a grind, which is usually good to avoid because it's just so hard to recover from that. And it's not really like, it's nice for like a PR, but it's not really like a practical max in the sense that it's not a weight you're probably going to be able to consistently do when you go that heavy. On this day, did snatch or muscle snatch plus push press. And you see here, I believe it was a set of 10 with 80. Muscle snatch is pretty hard, but I'm still trying to do that with contact. So no hooks still, just because, I don't know, I don't really feel like wearing out my grip on my hands. And the weights aren't that heavy for me for the muscle snatch portion. But trying to do that contact to really kind of have the correct contact that I'm not smashing it too hard, but also trying to pull it vertically. So I think it's just a little bit better for me, and plus it limits me how much weight I can do, at least until I get more comfortable with it. I try to do the same thing with these muscle cleans. Overhead presses are just normal, but I try to make contact with the muscle cleans as well. So less of just trying to depend on my posterior chain just to ooga booga the weight up, but trying to like lift in a more normal fashion. And then just have that muscle portion. So, just trying not to bend your knees or whatever. But the muscle cleans felt pretty good. Once I got up to 80, the muscle clean felt difficult. And it's an interesting lift because like I can usually kind of bend my knees a little bit and kind of quote unquote, cheat the lift a little bit. But it's not really a lift I really care about. The same with like the muscle snatch. Like it's a good like light day lift for me to do, but it's not like a critical one. I'm not worried about getting up to a certain weight with it. Just like here with the muscle clean. I think this one, yeah, so I was pretty happy with that muscle clean, but it's more so focused on the pressing. And in the case of the muscle snatch, when I'm doing the push presses, just focus on moving the bar through the same plane as you would on a snatch, and then the push press is just getting some upper body volume as well. So a pretty productive day. I feel like this is the only two things I did. I think, or no, I did some snatch pulls too, and I did some doubles here. So I did a double at 80, at 100, and 120, 140 as well, and they all felt pretty good. So I'm happy with those two. And pulls I've been consistently doing, which I'm happy with, and just trying to reinforce that extension of the back when I'm doing them, and just really practice the pull and trying to make the weights that I'm hoping to snatch feel light and feel routine. Not really focusing on getting a lot of volume in the sense that like doing multiple sets or whatever with them, and just trying to get some doubles and working up. And if I do them, to focus more on the frequency of them, because my back is still a strength, and I don't necessarily want to spend a ton of recovery time doing a bunch of pulls. But happy to get those in. I don't know if I did pulls early in the week at all really, but at least got those done on that particular day. Might do some more today, I guess we'll see. But this is my session from Friday, so I ended up taking a nap. It was actually like hurricaning outside, so it was just storming all day. I think it is from that hurricane from down in Florida, but it was just windy and rainy when I got home. And so I ended up taking a nap because I just didn't feel like walking out to the shed when it was not just raining. Like if it's just raining, I don't mind walking out, but it was like actually storming pretty hard and really windy. I was like, I just don't want to come out here and deal with walking through the rain, two, like the lights flickered a couple times. Like last thing I want is to be out in the shed with the power out and then having to walk back in or stop a session or something like that. So I ended up taking a nap for a bit. Plus, like naps are fantastic when after school. So I did want to just take one in general, but it just kind of worked out. That's like I had a perfect excuse because like the power was kind of flickering. I think like my coffee maker had, so I think the power flickered at the house during the day because like the timer in the coffee maker was like flickering, like the had not had power one of my surge protectors by an outlet was tripped. So I don't really know what that was about, but probably was, power went out at some point during the day because it was super windy throughout the whole day. That first 90 that I missed there just kind of wasn't trying hard enough and I was thinking, that was the thing. I was just overthinking the technique and wasn't focused enough on just doing the lift. And so I made the adjustment and came back, made 90, went up to 100, made that, went up to this 105, made it. Was happy with how that felt. Wasn't feeling like super fast or super explosive on this day, but besides that 90 miss, once I made the adjustment for that, I was feeling pretty locked into the technique. At 110, I think I could have extended a little bit better, but happy to be able to get up to that weight, and that was the goal, to get up to 110, and then for the clean and jerk to get up to 140, and really just kind of stop the session there. I actually, when I was live, I did some stretching and stuff after, so you might get to see that if you pop into a live, but I've been doing them a couple days a week. I've been kind of having some fun with it, and I'm enjoying the time while I can do it while it's still warm enough to train out in the shed. And even in the the craziness of the winter, I have some theoretical plans that I might be bringing one of the barbells, because my former roommate and current I almost said former roommate, current friend is leaving his Alico bar, so I might actually bring that in the house, as well as the Titan plates that you can kind of see to the right on the shelf. I still have hundreds and hundreds of pounds of those, and so I might bring those in and bring the rack in potentially to do some squats and pulls in the house. So that's something I'm going to play around with, at least if I have enough space. Probably no weightlifting stuff, just because the ceiling is a bit too low, but squats and pulls might be manageable, particularly in a day where, maybe there's a storm, or maybe like I really don't want to train, so I just want to do some strength work and not drive all the way to the gym just to do that. I also bought a rower, like for cardio, and I'm excited to use that. I think it gets here October 1st, so in a couple days. But the reason I got that and didn't keep the stationary bike that my roommates had, they were willing to give it to me, so it wasn't like I was gonna have to pay for it. But I wanted to buy the rower because anytime I've done it in the past, I've always enjoyed it, and it's always felt easy, like mechanically, for me to do. So it's something that I feel like I will be more likely to consistently do. Because the stationary bike was a really nice bike. I had a setup where I could put my phone on it, track like miles and all that. It's just the seat wasn't very comfortable, and it was. I don't know if it was a Peloton. I don't think it was, but it was like that kind of style. And you're kind of like lean forward like you're on an actual bike. And when you're trying to do cardio for a long time, it's not really that comfortable. It's not like a recumbent bike where you can kind of just, go at it for as long as you want and not really be uncomfortable with your back and your glutes and stuff like that. But with the rower, I feel like that will give me something that I will actually want to do. And I don't necessarily have a plan of like, I want to do this much cardio or this or that. Like, I just want to have it and just have that extra component to my training that I can do on a consistent basis. So we'll see how that works. It should be here next week, and then I gotta put it together. So hopefully I can do that rather rapidly. But that's gonna be it for this one. If you made it to this part or to any part of any video I've ever made, I appreciate it, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.